What is going on, everybody? Rajay back in the house. What is happening? Decided to start something new. Going to do a little bit of a live stream here for a little bit. Share with you guys a special spotlight beer, so to speak. So I'm going to actually be doing a few of these to kind of test something else out on the channel, but something more designed for some of the other beers that I have that are more of those kind of maybe sought after, bigger type beers. And tonight I would actually do one on the 2020 Goose Island Bourbon County brand stout and kind of give a little bit more of a detailed breakdown on the beer. And if you've had this one out there, then you already know pretty much about it, how good it is and what it tastes like probably. But every year they come out with this on Black Friday, and every year it's a little different. So this one is actually at 14.6% ABV that I'll be sharing with you guys here. Get my microphone working. It's getting a little lip there falling down for a second. And IBU on this one is also 60, so a little bit more than your technical, your more malty type stouts, I guess you can say. Has a little bit more maybe a hop type feel to it, but definitely not going to be as bitter as like an IPA or anything along those lines. This one I had not tried yet. I had it in the cellar. Decided to go ahead and break this baby open. It was says best drink by July 7th of 2025. So if I wanted to actually store this a little bit longer, I actually could, a few years even. And about this beer itself, the original bourbon barrel aged imperial stout, our primary focus every year is to make this beer the best that it's ever been with the best ingredients, which includes the finest of bourbon whiskey barrels. This year's Bourbon County Stout is aged in a mix of bourbon barrels from a variety of whiskey distilleries, barrel aged for a year to develop the complexity that only time can provide. Bourbon County Stout boasts a unique blend of flavors such as fudge, vanilla, and caramel, topped off with a rich, complex mouthfeel. So that's how they describe the beer from the website. Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels, midnight black, they say for the color. Hops are Millennium, malts 2-row, black malt, caramel, chocolate, Munich 10, roasted barley, and as always in the 16.9 ounce bottle. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this baby cracked open. I did let this one sit out for half an hour or so. You don't really want to take this right straight cold. You want to be able to allow it to get a little bit warmer so we can open up the flavors and everything along those lines. What is up, Gilbert? Good to see you. Cheers, homie. Happy Friday to you. And I'll go ahead and crack this baby open. Lots of cannon smoke came out of it off the break there. Too bad Joe D's not here. He loves the smoke. I'm going to put this into the glass. Now, preferred type of glass for this beer, as they list on the label, is actually a snifter, which they actually put a picture right there as well. And this is somewhat close to that, so with what I have here, because you want kind of that curved bottom, taper in the top, kind of get everything formulated and come together on the nose. And we get a finger of head there off the nice pour. You get a nice mocha type colored head, obviously just about jet black, if not jet black, a very, very deep dark brown color. Nice amount of notes coming off the nose. You definitely get a nice feel of a caramel type base in there. Some nice sweetness. Get a fudge type feel. Chocolate. The caramel is actually kind of close to almost like a toffee type feel in the nose as well. But overall, very nice. Now we're down to a sliver of a head, so the head's not going to last too long on it. Oh. Very smooth. Oh. Sits nicely on the tongue. You get a vanilla. You get that caramel. You get that fudge coming through. It's like a liquid brownie. What is going on, Rain and Cheers? No Rajay deal on this one. This was actually one I picked up but had not drank as of yet. I'm trying to think back to my English education. But This one, when I picked it up at the time, I think it was $12.99 a bottle for these. So, and this is just the base version here. But you get a nice lingering amount of the flavor. It's easy to see why this is, a sought after stout like it is. Why people go crazy on Black Friday trying to pick up some of these. Although I'm not a person that typically will wait in line for something. I've got places I can go to and I usually can get that at the base, usually with no problem. I'll pick up a couple of the varieties, which I'll be sharing some of those as well. But as I'm here talking, just from that first sip, I still have that nice flavor and fudge on the tongue. Still has a little bit of a chill on it, but as it warms up, it does get better. It starts to really sink in a lot nicer. I was about to say that, Gilbert. Yeah, so at this 14.6, it is still a little thin. Not to a point where I would say it's like watery or anything along those lines, but you do have it a little thinner. And I think of some of the other big beers I've had from breweries around this ABV, or some that have done some of the other barrel aged stuff. I think of stuff like an Evil Twin or an Avery or something along those lines. They tend to have a little bit more of a thickness to them than what this is. It does have a little thin coming through in the body, but with everything else going on, it's one of those little things you can kind of look past, right? It's kind of got everything else happening that makes it a nice, enjoyable beer. If you're looking for dessert in a glass, this is perfect. Nice pairing you can do with this is with another dessert, like a chocolate type cake or pie, whatever it may be. I think some of our places, they used to have like kind of these truffle type dessert stuff like that and everything. Things like that would definitely work well with this one here. Skip, what is going on? Cheers, my friend. Great to have you in as always. Sergey, my hand told me I was also thick. Okay. mm. Oh, it's got that nice body to it in that it's got a little bit of that stickiness to it. Like when you take that drink, it really sticks in the mouth nicely. That really latches into the cheek area. Really holds the flavors in. As it's warming up now, I'm getting a little bit more of the feel of the chocolate in the throat as well. Nice sweetness from the malts. The one thing I would say is that if for some people that really don't like the overly sweet, I can see where drinking this down, you may have a little bit more sweetness than you might want to expect on it. But for those of you that know what to expect or like the sweeter type stouts, the pastry type stouts, things along those lines, I think you're fine with that sweetness here. But it is really dessert in a glass, very solid. Not much of a complaint with this one. Rating says would rather go with a 4-pack of Lagunitas Willati's $10.99. Well, I mean, Willati's is a good stout there as well, which I've done reviews on that one too. And if it was just, if you're looking at buying for the value, one of these for $12.99 versus 4 of those for $10.99, yeah, I would go that way as well. But to have one of these to just sit back and enjoy, to break up the routine, is very nice in itself. Nice one to have with a cigar as well. If you're out there chilling with a cigar, because you're going to take your time usually with this, something like this. I think you get a nice cigar, you can really sit out and enjoy it too. But it's a pleasant beer. As they describe it on the website, as I may mention earlier, a lot of that stuff does come through. You do get a nice feel. It doesn't make mention what whiskey barrels they actually use for this one. Now, on the other ones I'll be doing, Knob Creek will be one that they use for a whiskey. And then I'll be doing the tea one as well at some point here. And then I think it's the Caramella as well. And a few other ones. Skip, this one is 14.6% ABV. So 14.6 on the 2020. Each year, as I mentioned earlier, it kind of gets mixed up. So it's not always the same. That you kind of tweak them different ways. So a nice one here. And I think in 2020, unless Untapped just had an error, which is possible on Untapped, they were showing some at 14.2. So I don't know if there were two different batches that came out last year or not, but this one is definitely the higher ABV. I hate to know what the calories are for this thing because it's probably pretty big. I probably have to go ride the bike tomorrow. Mm. A little bit of a richness in there as well from the sweetness of the beer. Almost has a little bit of a. I mentioned the fudge. It's like a brownie, but like one of a richer type, like those s'mores type brownies, kind of just when it hits the tongue and everything. Let me see. Skip says, "Holy Mother of Pearl." Yeah, 14.6. I mean, we drink beers that are bigger than that, but 14.6 is definitely a little bit higher there for sure. I think the biggest one I've actually drank so far is the one from Avery. That was 17 or 18 something. I can't remember offhand. But Avery is known for making some big beers on what they do as well. But these are the big ones from here at Goose Island. It's funny. I went to the Beer Fest in Cincinnati last week. That same group is doing Cincinnati Beer Fest, but for Columbus. So it's the Columbus Beer Fest tomorrow. Goose Island didn't come to ours, but they're going to theirs, and they're actually going to have Bourbon County on tap at the Beer Fest. That booth is going to be really, really crazy, I'm sure, when people see that that's on tap. I've never seen them at any of the ones I've been to at Goose Island where they actually brought Bourbon County to put on tap anywhere. So that is kind of crazy. Skip says, it's still considered beer at that percentage. Yeah, it actually is. There's higher ABVs that go up. Still considered beer. You look at Utopia, which Utopia is, 27 or something, that area. And still considered to be beer, even though they recommend you drinking in 1 ounce type increments. But yeah, so. But it's tasty. It's tasty. I like it. Again, you're not going to get around that sweetness. If you look down in the glass, you might see Wilford Brimley kind of swimming in it because it is that sweet. But it's also one that you have two people that you could share it as well. You know, share it with somebody, have a little, you take 8 ounce, I take 8 ounce, whatever it may be. It's a small bottle, so perfect crusher to move on to the next beer session, right? Yeah, you can easily go through it. Now, I will say one thing they actually do, and Skip, you just asked this as well, they do hide the alcohol well in this one. So you get all that sweetness, you get all that flavor coming out. The alcohol is hidden pretty well on the beer here. I think once you have like a full bottle or maybe a bottle and a half, depends on what your tolerance level is, you will feel it at a certain point, but it doesn't really bleed through with the alcohol, which is also nice. So these are the ones that can actually get you hammered. I think it's something like, and I haven't had it yet, but from people have told me, like the Dark Lord, kind of that same way. People get hammered because you don't really feel the alcohol as much. The next thing you know, you're on the floor. Highest beer I've seen around here where I live is 10% ABV. Yeah, I mean, depends where you're at. Depends what your state laws and stuff are, too. And Skip, I think you're in Canada, I believe, as well. So I'm not sure how that breaks down for the provinces. But here in the States, different states run their liquor. So some states, they don't have high ABV, and some they do. Some have like high ABV, but you have to sell it a certain way. I think of something like Utah. Utah, you can only have a certain amount of level for your beer or whatever, although if you're distributing it out, I think at Utah Brewing, they get some higher ABV beers, but they're not serving them there, I guess. It's kind of weird. Shot can, a tall can of it one time, and I don't know what happened after. Well, 10% ABV for us in the States, we drink those pretty commonly, so with some of the beers that we have out there. So that's not too bad. In fact, I drink a couple 10% here and there. We used to go to a local Chinese restaurant that has 150 beers that you can actually try there, which is pretty cool. Great Chinese food as well. And I used to start off with the Evil Twin Molotov cocktail, which I think the Molotov cocktail base, I want to say it's either 16%, somewhere around there, 17, somewhere in that ballpark. Now they got one that's a little bit higher, but they also got some that are lower as well. And I would just go from there. But to start off with a 16% beer, you're already out there having fun. So, yeah. Okay, so Toronto. That's what I thought. I thought you were up there. Toronto, I need to get up to Toronto again. Toronto, I've only been to it one time. Pretty city. Had a great time up there, but it'd be awesome. What's up, BC? Cheers, my friend. But yeah, if you're here in the States, Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, people start going around, lining up, seeing where they can find this beer. I haven't seen anything on their lineup for 2021 as of yet, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. They usually have the one base version, like I'm sharing here, and they'll have usually 5 or 6 different variants that they'll bring out. So I have the Jungle Gyms that some of you guys have seen that video. Usually they'll have a couple there. I can just walk right in and be able to get something. Last year was the caramel and like the fog whatever tea. So I just can't. I've never been a person that can take standing in line for beer. I just feel like there's so much beer out there. I'm not going to wait in line just for one. Even as good as this is, and I think the untapped score on this, the average, I think it was like 4.59. Let me take a look here. 4.51 is what my friends have actually rated. I've had 60 friends rate this beer, and that was the 4.51, and they gave everyone else 4.46. So you're right in that 4.5 area with this beer. And again, you got to be careful with ratings because you don't know how people are rated. They're rating for style, they're rating for preference. For me, it's a solid one. It's not something I would say I have to get all the time. So for me to have to get to a 4.5, that would kind of be the case. But for me, this is probably like a 4.25, 4.3 type area. Maybe 4.4. It is pretty tasty, but I definitely am enjoying it. And the head is totally going at this point. You don't really get too much, but you can see like people always say like the alcohol legs. I don't really look for them that well on here, but it's definitely got a nice look to it along those lines. It's decent. It's enjoyable. It helps you sit back and relax and have a good time. Gilbert said there are some big barrel-aged beers around Toronto. Yes, because Gilbert, Skip, if you didn't know, he's actually in Canada as well. Skip was asking the names of any that you may know there. Well, what about the one that does the IPA number beers? Do they do like any barrel-aged? I can't remember the name of the brewery right now. It's like IPA number 5, IPA number 6, IPA number 7. They just use numbers for their stuff. Who is that? Let me take a look here. IPA number. I remember all my Canadian buddies were always talking about the number 5 as being the great beer they had. And I can't see it on my thing. Let me see here. You ever chug? I don't chug beers as much. I did the last thing I did was last October. I did the boot challenge chug, a liter of beer. There was a liter of Paulaner Oktoberfest that I did in the boot chug, and my chugging skills just aren't there anymore. I think it was like a minute for me to do a liter. I might have to go back and try to redeem myself at some point, but don't usually chug beers as much. Those days are definitely behind me, but once in a while I may do something if just for fun. Flying Monkey is a good beer. I've actually had Flying Monkey, some of their beers. The begins with the S. Sparkle something. Sparkle Puff Galaxy Starfighter Defender of the Universe. I've had that one. That's 10.2. So that's a 10% beer right there out of Ontario. And that one was actually pretty decent. I gave it a 4 on my Untapped there. I thought it was pretty solid. I do get Flying Monkeys at a couple of my spots here. I may have to check out some more of their beers. It's Friday night. What do you say we take down the rest of that glass? I'll take it down here in a second. Yeah, are you drinking anything, Skip, or are you just trying to get me to drink everything? Yeah, great beer indeed. I will say it does have a little bit of a layering type feel than when you kind of have it in the mouth. It kind of lays on the tongue nicely, and it's like it feels like there's different layers on it. It's a nice put together beer. I give Goose Island their props on this beer. I don't drink a lot of the Goose Island stuff with them. Part of it being under AB and Bev, but not always just because they're under them. Just like to try a lot more of the independent type beers. When I'm in Chicago, I'll check out usually more of their stuff. So I've had like some of their stuff on tap up there, not at the brewery, but different places around Chicago that feature Goose Island since they're out of there, and they have some good stuff up there. The good thing is I need to go to the brewery because when you go to a brewery, you find better stuff that they even put out in packaging. No matter where you're getting beer, if you go to their brewery, you're going to probably find better beer on tap. So next time I'm in Chicago, Goose Island would be one I'd like to check out as well. Yeah, Collective Arts. That's who it was. Collective Arts had the IPAs, and I don't know if they had any of the big beers, but I know people were talking about the IPA numbered beers people love. Cracking a beer soon. Well, there you go. Crack it for the weekend or the opening of the Olympics. The opening ceremonies are on right now, as a matter of fact. I'm not actually watching them, but I got the Reds game on. But it's kind of weird that the opening ceremony is tonight, but the Olympics started on Wednesday. You should have the opening ceremony first. I'm just saying. What if it's middle of the week? It don't matter. You can't have a sport start without having an open ceremony. Because if you have it after it, you're not ready to open ceremony anymore. Flying Monkeys is much better in my opinion than Collective Arts. Okay, so you like Flying Monkeys better than Collective Arts. Interesting. Both of them were pretty decent from the stuff that I had, though. So, but I would say with this beer here, if you haven't had it and you were kind of wanting to check it out, it's nice to get that feel just to know why people like it, why people drink these ones. Again, there's other ones that are out there. Raina made a good point. Willettai Stout from Lagunitas is very good as well. You get like a 4-pack, $10.99. You're paying $12.99, anywhere from $9.99 to $12.99 usually for this, for the base version. But it's kind of like one of those things that's nice to just experience, just to see what it actually tastes like. And I like to grab it once in a while. It's almost though, it feels like a point where people like to get them just to say they got them as well. But it does deliver nicely. Again, this one had a Best By date of July 7th of 25. So when you do get these, you can cellar these. Make sure you cellar them in like the basement, or if you put them in a closet or whatever, where it's nice and cool, and they'll actually hold for you over a period of time. They also do some nice etching with the glass here as well. I don't know if the camera picks that up, but it's etched on the glass. So a lot of people like to save these as collector bottles as well, with that nice etching that pops out. So they definitely put the time and everything into having a nice beer and a nice presentation with these bad boys. So good for them on that part. Let me see. Try Flying Monkey again. I'll get some Flying Monkeys again here at some point for sure, Skip. There's just so many freaking breweries, and I got so much beer already here. But when I go to Jungle Gems, I usually check to see what they have there as well. I can get beers from Canada pretty easily now. Also from over in Europe too, from some of my spots. And I'm trying to get more and more of the international type stuff in here. Although, like I said, Canada, it's international, but it's really more like the apartment above the meth lab than anything. So, definitely I'm the best I ever had. Give it another shot when you can. And Collective Art does collabs with Prairie, so there has been big. Yeah, now Prairie does some pretty good big beers. You talk about a brewery that puts together beers that give you a nice kick. Now you'll pay up for Prairie as well, but the beers are very solid. And you could put some of the Prairie beers up against this one as well. Hey, Moose Gal, what's going on? It's been a while. Cheers, Christine. Happy Friday to you. Great to see you. But I've done some of the nice Prairies, and those are always worth checking out. Yeah, Apartment Above the Met. I mean, come on, face it. It's like, Canada's not really that much separate from the United States. You're kind of like, the Fonz living upstairs from Richie on Happy Days. So, it's just, we tend to have stuff happen here, and then you guys start to having the same things at times. So, it's kind of like, don't pick up our bad habits. Yeah, so, but I like it. I dig it. Solid beer. If you guys, Leave me comments for people that see it that aren't live now that watch the replay. Let me know what you thought of it by leaving a comment in there, but definitely worth checking out for sure. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This is going to be something I'll be doing Friday nights, 8:45, Saturday nights, 8:45, as I add a couple more live streams to the channel here. So tomorrow night, I'll be back with another beer to do a spotlight, and these will be more for some of the more popular, bigger, sought-after type beers. So tomorrow night might be another one from Goose Island. It might be one from Epic Brewing, because I still got to do the Big Bad Baptist beers. I haven't decided yet. There's going to be some other beers I'm definitely going to share with you guys here. But thanks for you guys for tuning in for sure. Keep the meth out, right? Close the border. Yeah. I think the meth is probably already up there somewhere, though. And then if you guys are around tomorrow night, you want to swing back through, come on through and check everything out. And I will look to catch up with you guys then. But that being said, I'm going to finish this. For those of you who like to watch the gaming, I'll probably jump on the gaming channel here in a little bit if you want to catch me over there. Have a great Friday night. Talk to you guys soon. Keep drinking those good craft beers. Remember,